Am I here?
Yeah, you're here. You're here.
Finally. Oh my God. Talk about technical difficulties.
I
Wow.
don't know, man. It's fitting. It's fitting. It's fitting for the episode.
Yeah, trust me, it is. Trust me, it is. Welcome everyone to the Social Living Podcast. I am your host, Julian Green. Almost forgot my name there. And my co-host, Jamal Lawrence. How you doing, man?
Yeah,
How's
back
your
for
week
another
been?
week. Yeah, it's been good, man. It's been productive. Got myself a new mic, so I've had feedback over the last week since we published the last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago now because we missed last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, feedback was we need to sort our mics out. So I've got my mic from work just to see if that makes a difference. What do you think? Does it sound better?
You sound a lot better. You sound a lot better. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good. It means that we got more people listening, which is amazing. Um, Obviously, the last episode was very much you in the hot seat. How was
hmm
the response from that episode?
Yeah, it was good. Like it reached people I never thought it would reach. We had a lady that's actually on the board at Superdry comment on the post, the LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
Just, saying that she enjoyed it. Ooh, sorry, my headset just cut out. Yeah, saying how she enjoyed the podcast, and yeah, I really didn't think it would reach her. So it was interesting to see the different types of people it reached. I had DMs, messages on LinkedIn saying how they enjoyed it and they'd never seen that side of me. So yeah, it was interesting. It was good.
That's
I
good,
enjoyed it,
man.
and it seemed to got the response we were looking for.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Nah, for me, it was one of my favorite podcast episodes. Again, if you're listening to this now, feel free to tune into the previous episode, episode 10, where I take Jamal kind of through his journey from being a professional footballer into being a social media expert. So definitely check that one out. So that's a quick plug for that one. Yeah, man, I definitely one of my favorite episodes. We get to see you in a completely different light, and I think it's just something that people can connect to and relate to you. And no doubt that people that's within your environment, they can connect to it the most. So
hmm
it's really good,
No,
really good.
definitely, definitely.
So yeah, man. Episode 11 now, a week on or 2 weeks
Yeah.
on, like Jamal mentioned. Any meaning behind the number 11 for you?
You know, I thought about this. I've been thinking about this for the last 2 weeks, and I've been waiting to say it. So, 11 for me, it's quite fitting because it was Elias. Obviously, it was Elias's second birthday on Tuesday, and
Yeah.
obviously 1+1 = 2. Quick
Wow.
maths.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
I put it together. But no, yeah, honestly, I've been waiting to release that one for a while. But yeah, bringing Elias into play and celebrating his second birthday, which is yeah, it was good to get the
Amazing.
family down and yeah, we took him to London and yeah, had a good time. We had a good time.
Yeah, that's amazing,
But
man. Elias,
yeah,
if you're listening to this, happy birthday.
yeah, no, definitely. I'll play it to him tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be sick, man. That's good, man.
What about?
I,
Mm,
for me, number 11, you know what? Instantly, it just takes me to a spiritual one. If you guys don't know,
okay.
I probably could tell I'm quite a spiritual person, but you know what it is? It's like when I think 11, I automatically think like 11, make a wish, kind of thing.
hmm
Like that's just what I kind of just go straight into. So that's what it makes me think of. I just think like kind of like spirituality and just
Yeah.
like when you see 11 on a clock or something, it's meant to mean that you're like in tune with your inner self, and
Mm,
you caught that. Not many people caught that, and you can kind of make a wish, or say an affirmation, or you can say something and it will kind of bring true to you and something you would remember. So
hmm
yeah, I think that's what it is for me. So hopefully this is a very lucky episode. Hopefully. So yeah, man. So that's what it is for me, man. But it's been, you know what, the last 2 weeks, there's a lot has happened. A lot has happened. And yeah, I think we're just gonna focus today on basically what happened on Monday, first of all. So we had the basically Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Obviously, they're all under the same company. Um, they had a complete outage or a blackout, the social media blackout of 2021. Um,
Hmm.
it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. I think I don't know. Like, did you experience it firsthand? How did it affect you? Did it affect your work? Like, what happened?
It didn't, you know, luckily it didn't affect work. It was coming to the end of the day when the blackout happened. So I think I was packing up anyway. And I didn't actually notice the blackout. And then I had obviously went home, made dinner, and then went straight to football. So I missed any talk of the blackout until maybe 10, half 10, until I
Mm,
realized, bro, I can't get an Insta at the moment. So yeah, I
yeah, yeah,
missed it. So I didn't get it firsthand. It was then for me to go onto Twitter and then see it kind of blow up on there and seeing some of the responses from brands and Twitter themselves, kind of trolling Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, I didn't really get to experience it firsthand. What about you? What was your position on it?
so like obviously I manage quite a few different clients, and fortunate for me, I had already scheduled certain posts already, so that was good. So posts went out still
Hmm.
during the blackout, which is kind of weird, but I wasn't able to
It
see
went
them.
out during the blackout.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
it's still going. Oh, okay.
but it still got put, well, according to what I could see as I logged in the day after, there was likes on it
Hmm.
and there was posts on it, which is weird. And even like, you know what's weird is like, so another page that I manage, I posted a reel in the morning, and let's say the last time I had checked it, it only had like 300 views. And then by the
Hmm.
time I checked it the Tuesday morning, once everything was back online, it had like 30K views. It was like my best trending video that I had. So it was like weird.
Okay.
I don't know what effect it's had in on other people's accounts if it's negative. I can only assume it's had a negative effect on quite a few people's accounts because a lot of people run their businesses through Facebook, Instagram, as
Hmm.
well as WhatsApp as well. So like imagine you had like a grand opening, and every all your
Hmm.
marketing budget went through Facebook advertising, or do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it would have been a terrible, like
Yeah. Even
response.
like
You know what I mean?
yes, smaller scales like client-based business, smaller client-based businesses like barbers, hairdressers,
Yeah,
nail technicians. Like if they were speaking to clients about what time to come into the salon or so on and so on, having that communication just cut off just
yeah,
randomly out of the blue, they might have lost out on an evening's worth of sales and clients coming in. So yeah, it affected everyone. It affected everyone from
it's
the
true.
bigger companies and the smaller ones as well.
It's true. It's true. And just to kind of give a background in terms of what happened with Facebook. So just essentially like the whole Facebook umbrella, including Instagram and WhatsApp, they were basically disconnected from the internet. So basically, like they weren't really connected to any like data servers. Whether it was like a human error or not, or some sort of attack, nobody knows yet. There's so many like conspiracy theories that are coming on, but basically they were just disconnected from the internet. And ironically, like Facebook would probably put out an apology or something on their own platform, but
Hmm.
they had to put out a statement on like Twitter, on like their rival platform, which we kind of get into that. But in terms of the effect, like you touched on it a little bit just then, but like the overall effect of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp all being out at the same time, like, is crazy because everyone who has a business nowadays, I'm sure they have all three. And
Hmm.
um, we spoke about this already, like with Instagram kind of being that powerhouse, trying to take over in terms of e-commerce as well. There's so many businesses that are solely reliant on this platform, on yeah, basically the Facebook umbrella platform. And like for most it's probably just an inconvenience. Like for me it was an inconvenience. Like I didn't have any live campaigns running that had any huge ROIs or anything like attached to it or something like that. But for others, if they had like a grand opening or something, they would have been screwed.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think just that effect, like people not being able to communicate with customers, or you know, that alone, you need that communication, right, between a certain customer.
Of course, yeah.
What if I just bought a car from a dealership from Facebook, and they left, like, I don't know, like something's wrong with the car, but I don't normally call them,
Hmm.
and I normally message them, and it's like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Like little things like that, like you're just like, wow, this wow, do you know what I mean? So, but then there's also the other effect. I think Stephen Bartlett put out a post yesterday talking about how, what if we had like regular outages on social media? What would you do? Like from like 6 p.m., let's say every day, 6 p.m., social media is off the table. There's no more social media. How would
yeah. I
life
saw
look?
that post. Yeah, I saw that post about like having time to do art, listen to music, spend time with family, go exercise. Like, yeah, it kind of highlighted, I guess, the importance of spending time away from the app and well, the apps, and focusing on the real world rather than being stuck in this social media reality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a crazy one because I think that people should be doing, personally, I think people should be doing this already. I
Of
think you
course.
need to have hours. You should definitely set your limits. I think all the tools are there. Like, set your limits on social media. Like, you can't just be sitting there just scrolling for no reason. Like,
Hmm.
um, although I like work within social media, it took me a very long time to even create my own personal account. Like, we're talking like eight
Yeah,
years.
yeah. It's
We're
been a
talking like
while. It's
8
been coming. Like, yeah, it's definitely been a while.
But like, I use social media and I use it for very much on a business level. But like anything else other than that, really hard. There are definitely times where I can get caught up and you end up watching like funny videos and things like that. And now I feel like the apps are very much built to keep you on there. But if it's like out, like I couldn't care less. I would just go do what I like to do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
It doesn't affect you too much.
yeah, it doesn't at all. Like, got my son now, was spending time with him, basically just putting him to bed, really.
Hmm.
I got to focus on other things outside of like social media, or whether it was like uh doing my accounts that I needed to get done, for the month, and just little things like that that I might not have prioritized at that point in the day. So I just got to kind of like do that. And it was a little bit of like a nice breath away from social media, because sometimes like you get caught up in the trap of, I mean, especially when you manage, like, I just as a social media manager, once you get something posted, you keep checking it to see, okay, how many likes did it get? Did it get the engagement? Like, you
Hmm.
get onto
Hmm.
that kind of trap as well. So it was just like, okay, it's not working, fine, that's great. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize WhatsApp was down until like the next day. I was like getting all these messages, and I was like, why are you sending me a message? Like, come downstairs at like 6 a.m. in the morning. Like, I'm sleeping. Like, what is this?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I didn't really realize that. At first, though, I did think like my internet was down. I was working from home, switched off my internet, switched it back on again. I was like, "What's going on there?" It was. But then once I realized, oh right, this is down, Facebook is down. All right, cool. Then yeah, I'm just gonna focus on what I need to focus on, and that was it really. So
Mm. No, it's the
yeah,
same. Yeah, I was speaking to Tanika, like Tanika's like, oh, I don't think my phone's working. I was like, why, what's wrong? Yeah, Instagram's not working. And then we like restarted the router and yeah, realized that yeah, it was Insta, not us, which is interesting. But it was also interesting to see. I'm actually on Matt Navarra's Twitter, and
yeah.
he's reposted a article which includes what platforms got the most like percentage increase in terms of users. What I'm
Okay,
not too
yeah.
sure if you've seen this, but what platforms do you reckon saw the best increase in terms
Yeah,
of
in my head.
the users? It's mad.
I'm
In terms of this article, Snapchat and Telegram are top two.
really.
Yeah, 23% increase on Snapchat and 15% increase on Telegram, which is interesting.
Oh,
Because
really?
again,
I
I would have thought TikTok and Twitter after in my head, that's they're the winners out of this. But yeah, according to this source, Snapchat and Telegram saw the biggest jump in users.
Is that in a specific area? Just out of curiosity, like is that like London or something? Like where is what's the
I'll have to see look into the source and like and the terms, but just from like reading it at face value,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's an interesting
That's the-
source.
From what I could see, everyone started using Twitter, and then I was seeing people going onto LinkedIn, which I found quite funny because there was a lot of memes flying around, and it was just it just made my evening a little bit. Just like
Mm.
guys, like Twitter's Facebook's down, Instagram's down, so here we are, LinkedIn. Let's try and do some hashtag swag. It was just
Yeah.
like people trying to think, but it was good because even the brands got involved, and I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity for you to be creative, and also I think as well, I think one thing that we probably should discuss a little bit in depth is actually being able to have a strategy outside of the bigger players and
Definitely.
understanding where your audience is and even also kind of preparing for things like this to happen. Obviously, I understand like no one would ever think these big major platforms are ever gonna, you know, shut down or close or whatever. But
You
you
never
know, it
know
could
though.
happen.
You never
It
know.
could happen.
Like you don't know what Mark Zuckerberg is really doing with our data. If somehow he's doing something dodgy and that gets exposed, which could easily happen, these platforms could get shut down, and it kind of shows our reliance on the big players
Yeah,
and how much we rely on Instagram, like especially to run businesses and to put our budgets towards Instagram as our main player in terms of a marketing strategy. Like it kind
yeah,
of showed that we do need to diversify in terms of maybe budget split, attention, like you said, figuring out what audiences is on each platform and how you go about targeting them. Like, yeah, I think it's highlighted to a lot of brands and a lot of people, especially smaller business, especially because in terms of like my partner Tanique and her business, her main following is on Instagram, and once that is down, how does she? We had a conversation like how does she get new customers? How does she speak to her current customers? And if you don't have like the CRM data there, it becomes tricky, and it's like your whole business you might have spent years to get to this stage just being wiped, and
this is
you got to start from
this is
scratch again.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And this is why it's really important to build, contact lists and
Hmm.
email addresses so you can still communicate with your clients, and like you got like whether it's like things like Discord, Telegram, these are new like messaging platforms that you can use to keep in touch, and it's away from the so-called bigger players. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So um, I think like if you are a small business right now, I'll definitely be telling you, make sure you collect the sufficient data that you need from your customer base. So you can send them things like an email every week, like the power in just a newsletter
Hmm.
is something that I think most people kind of undervalue. They don't understand that just being able to send someone an email, they're gonna look at it. They might not respond or anything like that, but they will look at
Hmm.
it and they might be intrigued. And it's up to you to kind
Yeah,
of utilize that. Go on.
email's an in yeah, I was just gonna say email's an interesting one because a lot of people, especially in the modern day as well, they kind of see email as a dying way of marketing. But
Yeah,
you got, I feel like it's a bit of a knowledge thing, an educational piece in terms of what you can do with an email address. Like an email address opens the doors to a whole deeper pool of data. Like everyone's
yeah,
email address is linked to so many different I don't know what the word is, but data points in terms of your interests, age, sex, likes, dislikes, and so on. So in keeping that data and potentially using that CRM data in terms of your ad targeting, creating lookalike audiences is important. But yeah, like I said, it's a bit of an educational piece because those email addresses don't have to just be used to email potential customers. It can be used to target new customers and create, like I said, create lookalike audiences from them. But yeah, it's just
exactly.
thinking about like the bigger picture with the data you currently have.
Yeah, 100%. And um, I think even on top of that, like the what you said at the beginning, where you were like, with the email addresses, some people just feel like it's on the decline side kind of thing. But
Hmm.
it's also similarly to like receiving post. That used to be one way of marketing. People used to send, like deals, menus, if you were like a takeaway or something like that. This is how you used to get, find new takeaways. Obviously now everything's online, but like
Hmm.
some people, like in London, it happens a lot. I'm not sure about in Gloucestershire. Like in London, it happens a lot. You still get a lot of takeaway menus in your post, like if they can have access to your door or whatever. But
Hmm.
it's still an effective way,
Yeah,
because
we don't. Yeah,
go on.
so I was gonna say, yeah, we don't get it much, but which kind of shows up like it might be looked at as dead because we're not getting it, but there's an opportunity because when we do get it through the post, it's from the likes of Domino's and Pizza Hut, and they kind
Yeah,
of realize that no one else is doing this. It's unsaturated. Let's jump in and continue doing this. It's been part of their marketing strategy, and it works for
yeah.
them. So let's continue doing it because it's not
It's
as
only going to help.
saturated as, yeah.
It's only going to help with their marketing, like with their market share. They're going to get
Hmm.
way more market shares. You're an option. You're on someone's fridge. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember, I first started the agency. I was getting loads of like letters for like different accountancy firms, and I actually end up calling some of them. And it's like they're gonna get like that's a rate. There's a good rate of return on there because they know I just started a business. They've gone through company's house. They've checked everything out. They found my address. They sent me a letter, and they know that's that might be something that I might be in need of. And it's like,
Hmm.
you know what, businesses can really take advantage of this, and it's something that I hold and remember and feel. So now that's a whole new experience with your brand. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So if Tanika's going to jump into something like this, definitely an opportunity there to be a little bit more innovative. It doesn't need to be a flyer. It could be something that just even just smells nice, and then suddenly it's just like, wow, this leaflet smelled like cookies or whatever. I don't know, but
Hmm.
this is another opportunity to give um like a recipient like an experience of your brand and what you can bring to the table and be more creative on that level as well. So it doesn't always have to be just digital, digital, digital. We're still humans. We still have other senses that we use, like touch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And those can still be fulfilled and be heightened. So, yeah, I think it's definitely important. And I think that if you haven't done so already, hopefully that this blackout or outage allows you the opportunity to kind of look at other ways to be able to tap into your audiences and something that is either just outside of the major players, but something that you own and can control regardless of if anything goes down.
Hmm.
So you can still send a text message if you got people's numbers. It's
That's
going to
something
be
Gary V's, yeah, that's something Gary Vee screams about, and he has been screaming about for a while now in terms of SMS marketing and how unsaturated it is and how much more you could the open rate on SMS is a lot bigger than it is compared to email and stuff like that. Like a lot of these social media gurus, if you want to call them that, have been shouting about the different ways to target like these data pieces. And I guess it's like I said earlier, it's just like an educational piece and listening to these guys and trying to source this information and being the one to act on it because a lot of people hear this information but don't act on it, and you kind of want to be in that pool of actionable people rather than the people that are just consuming this content knowing it's good but then not really
Mhm.
doing anything with it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. We're seeing that a lot on social media, where you're seeing so many people post out the same thing, and they might get good engagement because their thing is entertaining. But are you actually influencing anyone? Are you making anyone buying anything? Are
Hmm.
you like you just might not have that same power that you think you have, but your
Hmm.
numbers look nice because people just find it entertaining. So it's just like that's it really. But
Hmm.
you need to be able to influence someone's behavior after that, what else are you gonna get them to do? So yeah, it's true. It's very true. It's very true. Um
For sure.
what was I gonna say? So back onto the whole blackout situation. Like I wanted to kind of take a look to see how was this allowed? Like you would never think Facebook would ever allow this to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like what really caused this? So there's multiple theories. I don't know if you've heard any. Have you heard anything yourself, Cham?
I've heard about someone in Facebook maybe cause like within the business maybe causing this issue. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting one. My in my mind, I kind of like to hope it was someone going rogue, like an employee going rogue and kind of like axing everything. But I can imagine it just being maybe a human error or a genuine technical issue. But for this to happen on that scale where all three apps are down, it does make you wonder about the intentions behind it and if it has come from maybe a spy, maybe Twitter planted. I'm just waffling now, but maybe Twitter Twitter planted a spy in the Facebook headquarters for this to happen because they knew they get the most back from it. But yeah,
But
you
yeah,
could
but
that
then
your mind can run wild with it all.
it can, it definitely can. But at the same time, like what you just said there, I'm like, okay, cool, it could be a possibility. But then, like, okay, Twitter will get an uplift, but then that uplift is like just for one day, just because everyone's going to be conversating on there. But as soon as Facebook and Instagram is back live again, people are just going to go back onto that again. So I don't know.
But then their experience on Twitter is when it's popping, like it's a vibey place, it's lively. So and people that haven't been on Twitter for a while might be like, oh, actually, okay, it's all right on here. I'm like, there's banter flying, memes are flying. Like maybe I'll stay or maybe give it more attention.
Maybe. I think that definitely a valid conspiracy for sure. I think there's others. I thought the one that came to my mind was basically like, you know how Facebook have been under the hammer when it comes to like legislations, law. I just thought like governments have just come in and you just like, you're not gonna, roll over. All right, let's just unplug this. And it's just
Mm,
like, what now, Facebook? See how long it takes you to sort this
yeah.
out. Well, we got whistleblowers or whatever. They're telling us that
Mm,
you do this and you do that kind of thing. So yeah, there's an element where it could have been, certain governments just saying, look, like Facebook, like we can do this to you. So yeah, you better, pay your taxes in these countries, or you know what I mean, like just things like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Can you
So
imagine the stress? Can you imagine the stress at Facebook head queue?
yeah,
Like
man.
no one's leaving at 5. I know it was a global outage, but in the UK, no one like no one's leaving at 5. You better get this online ASAP. I can't even
Imagine that.
imagine the stress.
The thing is
I would
like
not want to be in amongst it.
and the worst thing is I'm the type of person like because you got like we're both like this, isn't it? Right now you have kids, yeah, you have other responsibilities. There's no chance you're not. I'm not staying. Like this is not happening.
Nah,
I'm
she's
like I'm
mad.
not staying. I gotta pick up my son at 5. Are you kidding me? No way.
You know, a few people will getting the fires. They were getting the stares like, "Oh, you're leaving? Do you not know
Yeah,
there's an outage?" Yeah.
yeah, like, you know what? That's oh yeah, that man. We've definitely had days like that back in the offices, like in the past. Like
hmm
I'll give you an example. So I worked in mobile advertising, and there were certain times where um imagine like an exchange for just solely for mobile advertising, right? So what we would do is we would plug into loads of different advertisers, and they would have to buy like basically space on the different apps that we represented. So at the time it could
hmm
have been Sky Sports, it could be different gaming apps, it could be like the Tube Map app that you have for London, like all these different apps that you have. And basically, we would vet an advertiser, make sure they're trusted and reliable, and then they would if they bidded the highest amount, they would be able to be advertised in certain places, basically. And
hmm
we had it a few times where a certain advertiser would pretend to be a clean advertiser, go through the whole vetting process, but what they would do is they're just trying to get their ads off, um, but their ads were like X-rated ads, like 18 plus, like porn ads, and they would just get
Okay.
fired on to like some of the some of the apps that we had, and we had to like try and track down what advertiser it was because some of them they're really clever. Like it's like, is it like which like advertiser are they hiding behind? Because they're clearly not the name that they said they were. Do you know what I mean? So you got to
Uh-huh.
like shut
Uh-huh.
everything down. But if you shut everything down, you're losing a ton of money because you're basically just shutting down like your whole marketplace. It's like shutting down like eBay, and it's like, well, where's the money? Like there's no money being
Mm.
made. So like there was all these different decisions that needed to be made, and then you realize, okay, yeah, we gotta find it, and then you trying to find a live ad, everyone's downloading the apps, check it so you can find the IP address, man, manic. But
Can I
you know,
imagine?
as the time went on, technology developed, there was ways to flag certain things and track it back to the advertiser and stuff like that. But before you just
Mm.
had to switch everything off sometimes and then try and figure out who it is. Because if it was one of my relationships that I've done, I'm under the gun. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it just happens from time to time, man. But you know, I feel like as you get older as well, and other things become the priority, like your family and things like that, there's no way that I can just be like, yeah, work's way more important than my family, so I'm gonna have to stay
Yeah, you
there
have
for this.
that choice. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have that choice then. You have it puts things into perspective. You have that hour, 2 hours of working extra after 5 or half 5, whatever your t finishing time is, or spending time with your son or your family. Like you now have a choice to make, and the which was an easy choice, might be an easy choice before was, oh, okay, I'll just stay on, is now not such a simple choice because you're now without maybe knowing you're choosing work over your family, and it makes you look at it differently in terms of how you spend your time and maybe how little of it you have.
yeah, how little of it, and like when this is probably another episode that we definitely need to dedicate to the podcast of just like being a dad in today's day and age,
Hmm.
working on social media, but like you know that if you're the only one that can pick up your son after school or something, you know there is no other option. There's no like overtime, being late or whatever. Like no kid wants to be the last kid that is picked up from the childminder or school or nursery or anything
Hmm.
like that. So you have no choice. Like it's a very, to be honest, it's like a very easy choice because there is no choice at hand. You're always gonna pick your child first over
Hmm.
over most things.
I
And
think it's
especially
good. Like we spoke about this before. Again, we'll speak about this on another episode, but about setting boundaries and setting them early on. Um,
yeah,
because before, I think as you want to progress in your career, you turn into kind of like a yes man, I guess, and you kind of say yes to everything. You don't want to disappoint because you want to do well. But I feel like I'm there as well now. Like you get to a certain position where you feel more comfortable about saying no, and
yeah,
you kind of set those boundaries. Like people know, okay, Jam's got to pick up his kid. He's not staying late. Like that. That's a thing. There's no. It's
yeah,
a non-negotiable. That's just how it is, and it's kind of
yeah.
about setting those boundaries. But yeah, I guess we can touch on all of that on another episode though.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. So kind of flipping it back to Facebook, um, like so there was all these different conspiracy theories. It's so hard to know what to believe, but they did come back and they did react and they did put something out on Twitter, just which was just kind of like what was it? Just like an apology, embarrassingly,
Mm.
on Twitter. Um, and like obviously, I can only assume that Facebook have had like they must have had issues like this, maybe just on a local level, and maybe they could just get fixed within like an hour or something. I don't know if you ever had like your Facebook down for a little bit where things are just not loading or you can't switch between accounts and stuff like that. But they quickly get resolved. But in this case, it turns out that like I guess their internal network that they were using, they've made it a little bit more efficient. But then the consequence
Hmm.
of that is that if something was to go wrong, everything goes down. But
Yeah.
you do get a smoother Facebook at the same time, or smoother experience when you're in the app. But then if something was to go wrong, your whole thing goes off. Because like I can only imagine, right? Facebook must be using Facebook Messenger as their internal tool. Like it has to be. So
It's
then
got to
it's
be.
like
Yeah, it's got to be. I think.
It has to be, right? Because it doesn't make sense if it's not. So it would be funny if like if you work at Google but you use Outlook. It just wouldn't make sense. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so it's like, okay, you use Facebook as your internal tool, but then if that's down, man, all communication
Where
levels
did
must
they
have
jump
been
to? Yeah,
that must have been like
yeah.
mad. Do you know what I mean? So like yeah, I feel like I think on the face of it, like that decision to kind of make things more efficient and have everything on like this one network. But then if one plug can just get pulled and everything's down, I'm not sure
Mm,
that might be the best opportunity. But again, they might never have thought this could happen. They might have never
exactly.
thought, human
I know
error.
this has
This,
happened before though. This might, yeah. When I was agency side, I know this happened in the past, but I don't
yeah,
think it was for as long as it was on Monday. It might just be
yeah,
for maybe an hour or two. So it's
yeah,
interesting to see. And like you said, it can't just be one plug. It's got to be multiple things going wrong for
yeah,
for for this to happen on that scale.
yeah. It's true. Let's put this question out there. So, how much do you reckon Facebook lost? I mean, Facebook as the conglomerate, so as the whole, which includes Instagram, and WhatsApp. How much do you reckon they lost, like in those several hours that they were out?
It's mad. I know this that obviously, but even just seeing the amount and the amount, what, 6 hours was it, the outage?
Yeah,
How
something like
much
that.
how much that amount of time can cause negatively affect a business. Like it's crazy,
But
crazy. I don't know. Do you
if you
wanna
could
do you
think,
wanna uncover the amount?
yeah, yeah, I do, because I want to look at it from the basis of just like even as an investor, right? How many millions of people would have invested in Facebook? And then maybe
Hmm.
even over the last year or whatever, bought some more shares or whatever, whatever. But then once something like this happens, this becomes bad press. This is negative. Man, that share price is going down. So
Mm, mm.
here it says that their share price dropped by 5%, which is the equivalent of about $6 billion from basically
Which
like
is
Mark
crazy.
Zuckerberg's personal wealth, which is
Mm.
wow. Do you know what I mean?
Imagine,
Obviously,
I
it's
see
still a
it.
drop
If
in
that
the
was,
ocean. It's still a drop in the
mm,
ocean in terms of like Facebook valuation and everything like that and how much they're worth. But man, 6 hours, 6 billion gone, done. It's like wow,
crazy. That's a 1 hour for each billion that was
yeah.
lost if it was over a 6 hour period, which is crazy. It
Think
kind
of
of
think
shows the
of
size of it, but I know, I know. Like a group of towns don't see that in a like. I'm not sure Gloucester's seen that in a lifetime.
yeah, it's true, it's true, it's true. It's mental and like yeah, like I think like Facebook have to do a lot right now to kind of reinsure board, the committee, their users. I think they really need to like tap in and you know I get I think they have to regain some kind of faith. You know, a
Hmm.
lot of statistics like Facebook, hands down, are one like obviously they're one of the biggest players within the advertising game, and they got one of the best platforms, and that's hands down. Everybody goes to that, and that's because they've kind of almost tapped into almost every generation, to so to speak. Like we're on Facebook, you got our parents on Facebook, and even grandparents are on Facebook sometimes as well. But
Hmm.
however, in modern day times, we are seeing a decline amongst the younger generation because that's not their first social media platform anymore.
Hmm.
You have the likes of TikTok, you have the likes of Snapchat that's there, and anything new that comes after that the kids just want to rock with, that's just going to be their social media platform. So yeah, it's just how it's going to be. So Facebook need to do a lot to kind of stay with in the place that they were, not to say they've dropped down or anything, but this PR wise, this is definitely a dent. um
I feel like yeah, for me now, I feel like they're gonna up their push towards creators and being able to monetize their work. I know it's been something that's been going on in the pipeline for the last few years, but I've not seen that big push from Facebook and Instagram yet in terms of the way maybe YouTube have rolled out their monetization process. So in terms like you said about kind of regaining that faith and giving back to the people already on the app. I feel like that might be their way of maybe reconnecting and keeping, I guess, the influences and brands there by giving something back to them.
100%. 100%. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like. I'm definitely gonna if they definitely try and get better payouts for influencers and things like that, and just content creators. I'm definitely gonna try and do my best to, I guess, get involved in on that as well. So yeah, man,
Hmm.
looking forward to see what happens there. But yeah, guys, I think this if there's any one takeaway to get from today's episode is 100% try and encourage either your clients or you as a business, if you're a business owner, to focus on strategies outside of your major players in social media. To try and include other forms of marketing. I like to focus on like a lot of direct marketing. So if you can go straight to anything that's straight to the consumer, whether it's postal, whether it's text message, whether it's email, anything like that, you definitely want to have a strategy that kind of coincides with your social media strategy. When it comes to just like owning your audience, because I think what we saw on Monday, you quickly realize you don't have that much, you don't have as much control as you like to think that you have. So you
Definitely.
definitely need to
And
have a
even
control plan.
and even on a personal level as well, just realizing what time out away from the big players can be like and how enjoyable it can be just to be present and within the moment, and how you can kind of take that on going forward and maybe incorporating, like you said, time away from socials, whether that's you don't touch it as soon as you wake up. You might go on your phone after 9 and then not go on it after 8 p.m. in the evening. So just creating those boundaries for yourself
Yeah,
away from these apps.
it's not easy for sure. It's not easy. So even if you said like, yeah, I like to put things in bite size. So even if you just started like once a week, you know what, I'm just between this like I don't know, once a week, every Friday between 6 and 8, I'm not gonna even touch my phone. Or
Hmm.
yeah, like 6 and 8 in the morning, or 6 and 9 in the morning, or just whatever it is that you feel like you can handle. But start off with 1 hour, then 2 hours, and 3 hours, and then see how you get on, and then you'll get eventually get to days. You know what? I only check social media every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, uh,
Hmm.
just to kind of give you some balance in life, because you'll probably quickly realize how much you actually use social media, and maybe that it could be having like a negative impact on you. So it's definitely about having the right balance. You can't be doing things and it's too heavy on one way. It's only going to have a negative effect on you. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's definitely important to try and set boundaries for yourself. And the worst thing is, I think the first way to kind of go in that direction, like the way to get that first step, is to kind of acknowledge that you use it too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Looking at
feel
your
like
screen time.
yeah, 100%. Looking at your screen time, and in Instagram, it tells you like how long you've been, what's your average on a day-to-day basis. So
Hmm.
definitely try to do that. I definitely try to have days without social media. It's ironic because obviously I do social media management, but once I've got a lot of things kind of scheduled, and I know that things are scheduled and whatever, I rarely try to look at it. I try to look at it just on like a more of a brand safety, if there's any complaints
Hmm.
or anything, or anything's kind of gone down, I try to do it that way. But it's a difficult job to manage. I can't say that I have the perfect balance, because at the same time my job is very reactive as well. So if we need to get a meme out because something's happened, I'm trying to get that done within the first 24 hours as opposed to
Of course.
2 weeks later, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Yeah, I think that was really good. I feel like Facebook, we gave a lot of information in terms of Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. We have quite a few social media updates to give you guys as well. Actually, you know what? We should discuss this first one, because this one kind of surprised me. Um, so Instagram is retiring the IGTV brand,
Hmm.
like, and now they're kind of merging all videos into like a single format feed. What is your views on that?
I think it's I think it's a good move. One, it in terms of having like all your video in one area, I think it's a good move. It helps people kind of choose whether they're looking for longer form content or they're just looking to see someone's stills and imagery. From a personal like consumer point of view, I think it's a good move. The fact that they've invested so much into IGTV, and I think IGTV has its own app, which is now being rebranded to. Um, the placement on feed now looks different. It's a bit more user friendly because before IGTV would show like a 15-30 second preview and then it'd be you have to come off the main feed to watch the full version of the video and it just the process
That is
wasn't as smooth
so
as it
annoying.
I know, yeah, it is. It just isn't as smooth as it could be. So they've looked at it and with their push now towards video content and that being like the hero content type for the app, I think it was needed. They needed to kind of reshape that process and have video in one area and now push that area in terms of reels, which is amazing for discoverability and Instagram TV now, and how they'll be interesting to see how they position that and get more people to use it. Because still, I don't think it's been used as much as they would like. Obviously, it's there to kind of compete with YouTube, and yeah, they're still miles off it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see
The
how they
payouts,
position that and
man.
kind of get. Yeah,
But
it will be. It will be.
for
But
me,
still,
it
I feel
started
like
with
they're dragging their heels. I feel like they're dragging their heels with it because this has been going on for like I feel like the last 2 years there's been conversation about this, but still
yeah,
there's no been the push hasn't been big from
yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, you know, you're right. You're right. Like I thought the IGTV was going to be something good. I was like, you know what? Yeah, like we could start putting all the podcast ups on there, and I was like, yeah,
Mm,
like we can, try and utilize this platform, long form content. But then when I really look at it, like I rarely ever go to IGTV to look at any long form content. Like never. Like I
mm,
know what my app is for that, and that's YouTube, and it kind of will always be that way
definitely.
for the near future. And like, um, I think another thing as well is like I feel like when you do look into long form content on Instagram, I think it's mainly for a carousel. But I feel like once you see a video and it's like 30 seconds, but it's been broken up like six times, I feel like you might be more willing to watch all of that. But once you see like
Mm.
15 minutes, you're like, oh, it's a little bit too long. That's because,
You know what? Mm,
yeah, go
go
on.
on. I was gonna say for me, I think it's about the device. And when I want long form content, I normally go to my TV or maybe my tablet. But when I'm obviously on Instagram, I'm on my phone. And I don't really want to watch long form content on my phone. I always
Yeah.
go to a bigger device for that. So I think that's where they might struggle. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, it's gonna be interesting to see how they position themselves.
Yeah, very interesting. Like it's so true what you just said there because I'm very much the same. I watch mainly YouTube on my television, to be honest.
Mm,
I do watch it on my phone sometimes, but the max I'll watch might be like 10 minutes.
mm.
Like
Even that's a push, like yeah.
yeah, it's a
I might
push.
get Arsenal fan TV video, like a quick
Yeah,
4 minutes, 5 minutes.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Mm,
that's it's the same for me as well. But I think on Instagram, I feel like once something's in a carousel, it could be an interview, but if it's broken up like 30 seconds and then 30 seconds and 30 seconds, it makes me want to swipe. And then I feel like I could take it in a little bit, because it's quicker. But I feel like the nature of the platform is very quick. You
mhm.
tap, you like, you go past. That's kind of how you've been trained on Instagram, more or less over the last like 10 years, basically. So to now suddenly go to long form content, I don't necessarily go there to search. Like you already know, like the environment on YouTube is very different. You look in, you check in, you're gonna type in a video. You might not even watch the video. You click on it, you might not watch it. You might instantly just go and see what was suggested. Like, and then
Uh-huh.
you filter through like that. So it's like a whole different experience that you're going through, and it works for YouTube. and that's how you know, okay, this is how I'm going to consume my long form content. And then instantly on TikTok, you know, just a swipe, and then you're done with that video. You know, the next one, you're never going to watch the whole video. So it's already a quick format type, video.
Mm.
They're trying to get into long form content as well. They've already done like the 60 seconds, so it'll be interesting to see if they go, longer than that. But yeah, like, I guess we would just have to wait and see. But it's sad to see IGTV go down the way it did, though. But yeah, we'll see what happens like in the near future for sure, for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
The next update we got is Instagram's now testing likes on stories, just to kind of provide an extra form of engagement, I assume. So what's
Hmm.
your take on that one?
I kind of feel like it's already there
Yeah,
in
with
terms
real.
of maybe like, yeah, look, even like with like emoji reactions, like it's there. But yeah, even and I don't really know how it will look. It'll be interesting to see how that will look because I kind of think it's there already. But
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because you can just do the emojis. You can do like the clapping. You can laugh or
yeah,
whatever. And
exactly.
it's like that, it's there. Obviously, it kind of goes into DMs as part of the notification, but maybe it might be notified in a different way. Who knows?
Maybe
I
yeah,
don't.
maybe they have it on show to see how many reactions the stories got. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess it allows more like insights in terms of how a story is being received. Because at the
yeah,
moment you've obviously just got the reach
yeah,
and
yeah.
amount of times the video that the story has been seen and the reactions, but still the reactions is quite minimal. It's not a common thing to react to stories. So yeah,
But
I
then
don't know.
in my head, it's the same as reels though. Like I feel like you're gonna go into reels and you have your likes there. You just double tap and then you go. You don't double tap,
Mm,
or you save it for later, or
yeah.
you send it to someone. Like, I don't know. Then I'm just like, well, then is that
Maybe
gonna be like that? Is it just gonna be similar to reels? I don't
hmm
know. Instagram knows,
Do you reckon
but
it?
that's something they're
Yeah.
testing.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see.
My last update, which I think is gonna be the content for the next episode.
Hmm.
TikTok looks to get in on the NFT craze, and they have created their own NFT collection, for people to basically own, I guess, different category trends that has happened within the last year, basically. So yeah, man, NFTs. So we got so many brands are now diving into the NFT game. So many brands, and now we're seeing TikTok dive into it.
I
So
think
yeah,
TikTok have got their nail on their head there as well, because like I feel like that audience they have they pick up trends quite easily, and bringing NFTs into that world could could fly. I can see how it could work.
mm, definitely could fly. Definitely could fly. I think it's a big move. I'm happy they're doing it, and if I had the opportunity to buy one, I 100% will.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's good. I think even if you're a small brand right now, I think you should 100% be looking into NFTs just from like a brand awareness level. I think 100%. You might not need to know enough about NFTs, but again, introducing that world that's already there as it's being a craze now and experiencing your brand in a completely different way, you should 100% be paying attention and trying to do a little something. And just to kind of give you an overview of people who have NFTs, you could talk about Gary V's, your Jim Jones is a rapper, Coca-Cola I've dabbled in, even Lionel Messi has his own NFT. So yeah, like these brands are tapping into it, and I really think that it's a good opportunity for smaller businesses to get into it, so it can start becoming kind of like on the ground locally as well, and being kind of
Hmm.
like, I guess, gets more notoriety. But again, it's a different way for people to own a piece of something that you have created, and as it's kind of backed or through like the blockchain, it's very easy to see, you know, the original owner and that person who is the original owner of this content creation will always kind of receive commission every time it's being resold or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's just another great way of doing something. Like imagine there was like an NFT of like the England shirts from when they won like 1966, they won the World Cup, and there was like an NFT of those t-shirts. Like they could be valued at so much money right now. Do you know what I mean? I don't know who made it,
Definitely.
like Umbro or something like that, but you know, just having that and holding on to that there's so much value in that, you know. It's just digital collectibles. And I think yeah, it's a big move. So I think, you know, we're gonna touch on it, episode 12. We're gonna touch on NFTs and you know how it can work for just if there's an NFT strategy out there, how you can dabble into it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about its influence and relate it to some to social media as well.
No, I'm looking forward to that one, you know, because I'm definitely a student, and you're definitely a bit more clued up to me. So even for me, like it'd be a good lesson, a good podcast to just kind of sit through and educate myself more on NFTs. I know it's been something you've been screaming about for the last, I guess, like a year now, a year,
Yeah,
maybe 18 months. So yeah, so it'd be interesting to kind of dive into that a bit more and get more of an understanding of the NFT world.
yeah, 100%, man, 100%. So yeah, man, I think that's it for the show today, man. It's a wrap. Like, um, yeah, we out.
Until next time.